Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. And I have to say, after taking that crazy kind of picture, I'm a lot less disappointed. This is a video about being an INFJ and your reaction to disappointment. If you're still wondering, am I an INFJ or not, this video might help you figure that out. So here's my disappointment. I am an INFJ and I had all these different plans. I have two different notebooks of plans, and they help me figure out exactly what I'm going to do next. I write a basic, here's the overall scenario, how great it would be if this and that were to happen. Then I write these trees, event trees of possible events that could possibly lead to any one of those three things happening. And then I write an event tree that actually acts as connections between different core events on each of those trees to help the possibility of connecting all three of those main goals happening in one life in one time span, or an adjusted time span over an elapsed amount of time. So, this is my other notebook that helps me figure out what's going to do. So I go to this level of compartmentalization on paper that is much more difficult for me to continue actually living in outside in the world. So here's this awesome thing that happened today. I got back on Teespring and I realized how I could salvage most of my creations. I didn't realize that they're not automatically updated to the shop. So I did that. I created more things. I loved them. I had a really great feeling. I was on a ball. I got in on time for my Preply webinar as a teacher. And here's where the first disappointing thing happened that day. Well, second disappointing thing. First disappointing thing, one of my dogs threw up for what seems like absolutely no reason. So now I've got these different things, the same way that INFJs write down these possibility trees, different things that might have to happen, these actions in order to substantiate the idea or the dream or the goal possibly having a place in reality. When a circumstance actually occurs that you have no control over, you're going over these possible event trees that somehow led to the thing that's happening. So now I'm like, is it cancer? Is it age? Is it something I'm never going to be able to fix? Is it something that I could fix and I'm going to miss a chance to fix because I have to take my other dog into the vet? All these different things are happening. This was first thing this morning at about 7:45, and I realized, okay, I need to get out of that way of thinking because thoughts can become things, especially if it's emotional connection. And seeing my dog upset and all coughing and everything, definitely emotional. But I said I have to get back on the ball, and I take this notebook out. I start working it, so I get myself back on track. Then I go into Teespring, I figure some things out, I create new things. I'm really back on track. I'm able to just look at the notebook now and feel good. Now, here's the next thing. Preply. I get in on time. I'm way early. I'm the very first one who's logged on before even the teachers. Excellent. Feeling really good. And then I go ahead and I ask a question. I pose the situation to the group. I responded to a student who was very interested in me teaching them beginner Japanese, and I followed the exact steps that were very specifically explained in our first series of onboarding webinars at Preply. And I'm so excited to get an answer back with something constructive. And basically, what they said was clearly, you need to go to the onboarding webinar. It is repetitive in nature, so it is recurring, and you definitely need it so that you know how to respond to students. That was a big blow because I responded to the student in the exact way that I was told to respond to the student in the webinar that I attended. So it's like, clearly you didn't go there. B, you have no idea what you're doing. So that was the first, it was actually bigger than the dog being sick this morning, because at least the dog being sick I can fix. And then here's where it got real. This is going to seem so silly, but this is a total INFJ thing. I got really into this show a couple days ago called The Guild. It's been in existence for a long time. It was a very short run show, and it's by a fellow and exemplary nerd, as we do call ourselves at times. And look up, it's called The Guild. Anyways, so it started to get a little bit frustrating or annoying with this one character who's kind of the archetype of some people that you meet when you're online playing and they mess up the game for everyone. So the show freezes. I've been waiting to watch the show all day. The show freezes and it freezes on the one guy that drives me nuts. His name or character name in the show when they're playing the game is Blades. So now, okay, lunch is not only interrupted, but it's stuck on the one guy that I hate. And I don't know why they made it seem like I wasn't coming to the seminars publicly because it's in front of everyone that we're talking. And I did answer that guy back the way I was supposed to answer that guy back. Okay, fine. Get back on track. Get my notebooks out and remember, hey, I've got about 2 hours before my advisor call about continuing education so I can update my license, my teaching license, or at least figure out a way to deal with not having a bachelor's degree. So I was a top-notch student in school, and I was an actual teenager, meaning there were a lot of times I didn't want to be doing it. But the fact is, I got absolute straight A's. I got above and beyond. I was doing a British curriculum. I was doing American curriculum for English and a couple other things, and that helped me get through into this basically advanced course. So I have an associateship in teaching. Now, a lot of people can say that, but part of why I had that is because of all this extra work that I did. Well, the thing is, since the Lao law was recently passed, you need a new updated certification, and now everyone wants you to have a bachelor's degree. They're not interested in whether or not, what your qualifications were that you could teach on an associateship. They don't care. You need a bachelor's degree. So I did most of the same work that someone who got a bachelor's degree would do, meaning all the books, the English reading, the math, all that stuff. But I was focused in on two majors, which was speaking Japanese. Well, actually, it's not. It was one thing. It was emotional for me, but it was teaching English, and it was Renaissance art history, Flemish masters in the Louvre. So it gets really, really, really specific. But the time was spent, it was done, and not a lot of people can say that they did that. And it's mostly only homeschoolers that can say they did that. Well, it's just not being recognized anymore. So realizing that was disappointing, but I combated that by writing the possible events log, the thing that I would want to happen. Let's blue sky this and figure out what would make it better. That's the INFJ way of handling disappointment. You have a blow and you say, what is the best constructive analysis to this blow? It's to figure out what the best next goal and resulting situation of the goal would be. And then make like an event tree, or you make a plan list, or whatever it is. You make blueprints. You follow the blueprints. When a disappointing thing happens, it really does hit you. But the thing is that you have the power to do something about it, because it's all about how you react. So you react by fixing, by creating, by being creative. And then you do it again, you do it again. But when it feels like the system is actually going against you, like you keep getting hit, that's the real disappointment. That's the one that's really, really hard to separate yourself from. So on this continued education call, I explained that I don't have a bachelor's and that I was interested in this specifically because it says alternative learning program, and it's what do you call it? It's affiliated with the state, because it's not just that they passed all the different tests and rigmarole that they have to with the country, United States, but that they're also affiliated, so you can get some special subsidized whatever. In other words, you can get help financing your course. Well, it turns out some of the language on the site is a little bit misleading. It's not actually that. It's not so much that the state is going to help you, the state of Hawaii or the state of Arizona or the country. It's not so much that the government is going to help put you through this program. It's that you can go through this program with the knowledge that government does know about it. It is accepted across the country. You are full on straight up teacher material after you do this. However, it's not so much continued education as it is directed education so that you can figure out, boom, you want to be a teacher, now you are full on teacher material and you're teaching English rather than just you have the license. In fact, it's really for people who are much earlier on in their process than I am, rather than to help me continue. It's really aimed at people who they're not teaching at all and they don't have any knowledge of what any of the certifications are. So I explained to her about the TEFL and she's like, that's so great. And you can teach overseas with just that. But if you're going to teach here now, you have to have a bachelor's. There's no, you know, compressed, like there's no way of fitting in the bachelor's degree into 2 or 2.5 years. I did a sped up thing where I did the same amount of work, only instead of being spread across all that time, it was shortened. And because of being a homeschooler, I had to do twice the amount of work. Even though technically I was an adult, I still had to do twice the amount of work. So I was doing the work that, people in this part of the country had to do, people in that country had to do, and then I was also doing the work of like a British student. So what should have really taken more than 4 years was elapsed from like three different standpoints of three different students into about 3 years. And it's just not, no one else cares. And that's pretty big disappointment when you realize, oh, wow, all that work that I did and it's gone down the drain. And what makes it really down the drain is self disappointment because I didn't do anything